Good morning, everybody. It's your morning drive time devotions. As I was reflecting this week, at my church, we're doing a series on the emotionally healthy church. And if you don't have a church and you've been looking for a church, and you live in Portland, or heck, if you want to travel, come check it out. It's off of 68th and Holgate, as is church. Worship starts at 10:30. It's an amazing place. And so we're doing this series on an emotionally healthy church, and it got me thinking about, okay, well, what is an emotionally healthy church? And it broke it down to each member that makes up the church, and that this idea that we have to heal individually to come together collectively as an emotionally healthy church. Now, if you're emotionally unhealthy, chances are you're not spiritually healthy either. And it made me think about when Jesus was sitting down with the sinners and tax collectors, and the scribes of the Pharisees told his disciples, like, who is he that he is sitting down and dining with sinners and tax collectors? And Jesus overheard them, and he says, a healthy person doesn't need a physician. And it's this idea that we are all broken in some way, shape, or form. We all have some kind of wound that needs healed. We all need a physician. No one is righteous, not one. For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. And that tells me that we're all wounded somewhere, somehow. There's an emotional wound that is disconnecting us from being spiritually and emotionally healthy. Now, we might be on the path to becoming emotionally healthy, which is the path that I hope that we can all start going towards. And this idea that I'm broken, that I want to paint a picture in your mind, maybe, of, say you fall down in the gravel or something, and it's a pretty deep wound. You have to go to the doctor and get it stitched up. Now the doctor doesn't just stitch the wound up, right? There's a process that he has to do, and often he'll clean the wound out, right? He'll clean it from all the debris, from all the things that can cause an infection later on. And then he'll add a little bit of numbing medicine, maybe, if you're lucky. And then he'll start to stitch it up. And this idea that, like, how do we heal wounds that were brought to us at an early age, out of childhood, that we decided to just stuff down and just sew it up, right? We left all that debris in there and we just sewed it up, and it's starting to get infected, and it's starting to affect our relationships, starting to affect our walk with Christ. It's starting to affect how we live life. And we can put on this mask and say everything is great. And then when this wound just gets festered up and infected, we start attacking the people around us. We stop loving the people around us, and we start hurting them. And see, what Jesus offers is just so beautiful. And my life is a testament to it. And there's a lot of others that have a testament of what Jesus has done to heal the wounds in their life. You know, and makes me think about forgiveness. Forgiveness being the cleaning of the debris, if you will. You know, that if we don't forgive, we're just sewing up a wound with debris inside of it, and it's going to cause an infection later. You know, and we can't be forgiven by God unless we forgive others. It's not God forgives us and then we wait and then... No, the Bible tells us that we're not going to be forgiven unless we forgive first. Now, you may wonder about forgiveness, and it's this idea, a lot of people might have it mixed up, that forgiveness is not for the other person. Forgiveness is for the healing of your wound that was caused. Are you willing to forgive because you want to be healed? Don't forgive to set the other person free. Forgive to set yourself free. And most of our wounds, we're going to say were caused by other people. Now, do you want to put an end to that wound? Do you want to start living the greatest commandments of loving God above all, with all your mind, with all your heart, and with all your soul? And do you want to start loving your neighbor as yourself? Because you can't do that without healing your wounds. You can't love other people until you love yourself. Do you love yourself enough to heal? To want to heal today? To let go of the resentment that you're holding on to? You know, and ways that I used to try to mask my wound was through addiction. Now, addiction is an easy way to talk about wounds, but there's also stuffing your emotions, stuffing it down, stuffing your wound deep down, and maybe going shopping. Maybe you just spend a lot of money and you go shopping to feel better. When reality is we should forgive, give it to God, and God will give us joy. He will give us healing. He will give us freedom from the wound. You know, and sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, I want you to know that you're not alone. If you have a wound and you need healing, you're not alone. You know, together as a church, collectively, being an emotionally healthy church is an amazing thing, because when people come into the church and they're wounded, we can surround them, we can love them, we can help heal them with God's amazing healing power. And that's a beautiful thing. Together we could put the body together and heal together. And you're not alone. You know, and there's probably, I might still have some wounds that need healing, and right now I don't see them, and eventually they're going to come up, somebody's going to do something, and it's going to reopen that wound, and I'm going to get angry or hurt, and I'm going to realize that, oh man, there's a wound there, and I need to heal this so I can become more emotionally healthy. You know, and if you've already begun this process of healing, hey, right on, you're on the road to emotional health, and which means that you're on the road to spiritual health, and ultimately that's where we want to go. We want to go towards spiritual healthiness, towards emotional healthiness, and if you're a Christian and you want healing, you want to experience the joy of God in your life, forgive. Remind yourself that, okay, I'm not going to forgive this person and let them have the joy of, oh yeah, I'm free from debt, and no, you're just canceling the debt for your freedom. And I know sometimes it's hard. It's hard to forgive somebody's debt for your freedom. I've experienced it. I've lived it, and I understand it. But I've also been on the other side of that, where I've been forgiven. And it you know, it's a beautiful thing that God has set before your feet, laid before you, and He wants you to grab a hold of it. He wants you to experience the joy that He has for you. And how are you going to experience joy when you're hanging on to resentment? How are you going to experience happiness and love if you're hanging on to resentment? You know, and some people I've heard ask, why did God give us emotion? You know, and I think that it's to contrast itself. Because if we didn't have sadness, we wouldn't know how great happiness is. God is just a wonderful creator, and He made all things for His good, for the greater glory of God, and we are made to love each other and to worship Him and to glorify Him in all that we do. Acknowledge God in all your ways, and He will make your paths straight. Are you acknowledging Him in your wound? In the area that you have resentment, are you acknowledging God and allowing Him to come in and remove that resentment and remove that wound and fully heal you in Jesus' name? I encourage you. Chase God. Acknowledge Him in all of your ways. Allow Him to be the physician that heals your wounds that you need healed. Because He's going to clean it deep down. And He's going to sew it up. And it's going to be brand new. You won't even know that you were hurt. Anyway, thank you guys for listening to this. If you haven't subscribed to my page, feel free to subscribe. You'll get an update of the videos that I post. If you like these videos, feel free to leave a comment. If you need prayer, leave a comment. I will actively pray for you. And I just want to say thank you for taking the time to listen to this video. I hope that you got something out of it. And remember, good things are going to happen to you today, and good things are going to happen through you today. Have a wonderful day.